Hey guys, so today's video is going to be why power levels don't matter. Now, at the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, when Raditz showed up on Earth, he used a scouter which detected life forms, and he was looking for, Kakarot. He was trying to locate him, and by reading his power level, and I mean, since people on Earth, their power levels are generally low, he thought, Kakarot's power level would be the highest one on the planet because he's a Saiyan. Although he didn't take into account Piccolo and even some of the other fighters like, Krillin and whatnot. So in the fight with Raditz, when Piccolo and Goku were fighting him, Raditz's scouter it told their power levels. I think Goku's was at 330 and Piccolo's was 320. But when the fight began, or rather as it progressed, both Piccolo and Goku can raise their power levels if they're doing like a powerful attack, like you know, special beam cannon or a Kamehameha wave. That I mean, just doing that raises their actual battle power quite a bit. So I mean, the scouter, I mean, it picked up that power level, but still, kind of got early signs of they could hide their true power levels. Now, that'll become even more prevalent on Planet Namek with Goku or with Gohan and Krillin. They arrive on Namek and they're searching for the Dragon Balls along with Bulma, and of course Vegeta's there, looking for the Dragon Balls. And during his fight with Goku on Earth, Goku and the others, and the Z fighters who can actually sense, they could sense ki and they could sense power levels as well as sort of conceal their own, bring theirs down. Vegeta was beginning to learn that technique and using it in Planet Namek, just trying to sense ki, sense energy, like Gohan and Krillin, who can not only do that but bring their power levels down to absolute zero, pretty much. So they're just undetectable by anyone using a scouter, particularly members of the Frieza Force and Zarbon, Midoriya, and whatnot, as well as Frieza himself too. He can't sense power levels, at least not at that time he couldn't. And really, the Frieza Force relied solely on scouters, and they just didn't have the ability to sense ki because they relied so much on those devices. They couldn't sense ki like Earthlings or the Namekians. And Vegeta, since he was still learning, there was a few times where he said, "Well, I kind of wish I did have Scour right now to pick up certain things." And as far as locating Dragon Balls, you could see where Frieza's at, see where other people were at that may have the Dragon Balls, because it's on the planet Namek, and the Namekians are they're not weak. They have pretty decent power levels actually, and 1,000 or above. And like obviously Vegeta can sense Frieza's power level. Well, you had a hard time sensing maybe Krillin or Gohan if they're conserving their power levels. And then as far as the Namekians go, you didn't exactly recognize their power levels because he didn't know them. He hasn't gotten a feel for it yet. He hasn't really gotten a feel for sensing ki at this point. Since Gohan and Krillin could just bring their power level down to absolute zero, it was pretty hard locating them and just getting the Dragon Balls. Although I want to go back for a second to when uh, Nappa was fighting the Z fighters. Vegeta was just kind of standing by, observing, and using his scour, he would see their power levels would go up. There was one point where Vegeta, said, take off your scouter, and these Earthlings can sort of hide their true power levels. That's where we first kind of heard about that, and of course that was during the Battle of Raditz when Goku and Piccolo were fighting them. They didn't unleash their like full power right away, and then when Vegeta just broke the scour, and of course the famous, it's over 9,000. when Goku arrived, and actually in the Japanese original Japanese version, it's higher than 8,000. It's basically what he's saying, and I think Nappa's power level is his max power level was about 8,000. So Goku's was stronger, and Vegeta crushed the Scouter. Because when Goku was first arriving there, his power level was 5,000. Then all of a sudden it was over over 8,000. So I mean, if, the Z fighters can they can hide their power levels, and that's what comes down. They can hide their power levels, so the Scouter can't read the accurate reading. I mean, it could still get a reading on it as it goes higher and higher. But I mean, we've also seen just watching Dragon Ball Z that the scours when they just explode, the power level is high enough. Although I, I think that has to do with just how much energy is being produced, or if someone's like really powering up and they're right close to the scouter too, because we've seen like on Namek when Vegeta was flying Kui, and I can't remember if it was either Zarbon or Doria's Scour just exploded once it hit like it was like 24,000 power level. But what doesn't make sense though is when Captain Ginyu was trying to get a read on Goku's power level, so still his body and stuff, but he was getting a read on his power level and it was 180,000, and yet his Scour didn't break, and that's a much bigger number than in the 20,000s range. So it's just one of those things that doesn't make a lot of sense. But anyway, and then and also that was probably the highest recorded power level in all of all the series, all Dragon Ball Z, as far as on a Scouter at 180,000. Now, kind of fast forward to the fight with Frieza, when Frieza transforms into his second form, the big tall one. And then Frieza says that his power level is over 1,000,000, which is much greater than anything we've ever seen at this point. And there's no Scouter to tell that, but in the fight you could tell. I mean, he's not bluffing. That's the true power level. But at this point, no one was using the Scouter. Mainly the Frieza Force used Scouters, so really after the Frieza saga, no one was using Scouters. There wasn't any need. As the Earthlings and the Saiyans on Earth, they could all sense ki, and they could sense whether it's really powerful or weak. I mean, without placing really a number on it, like a Scouter, you don't need to place a number on it. It's either big or small, whichever. And so the whole sensing ki thing is something that started actually in the original Dragon Ball series, and pretty late in the series, before the World Martial Arts Tournament, where Goku faced Piccolo, or Piccolo Jr. And it was during that 3 years where Goku was training on Kami's lookout, Kami, Mr. Popo. They they taught him how to sense the person's energy, their ki. And so it just makes it much easier to find them. You can sort of sense their aura, their life force even from a distance, like if they're coming or know if they're going somewhere. So then kind of fast forward to the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, where you had Chilai and Limu, and they were like members of the Frieza Force, and they were using Scouters. And then on Planet Vampa, when they were trying to get a read on Brawly's power level, and he was fighting that big creature, they couldn't get an accurate reading of his power level. It just kept getting higher and higher, and then it's kind of up and down, it seemed like, and just couldn't get a read on it, and what his power level actually was. And the same thing happened with some other members of the Frieza Force when they were on Earth trying to collect Dragon Balls, for Frieza to make his wish to be, a little bit taller. And then, when they found Goku and Vegeta, and the same thing happens, their power level just like a really high reading, and then it just kind of it just went off the Scour. It just pretty much gave a reading and just boom. It couldn't give an accurate reading. So I mean, it's just proof that even something high tech like these scouters can't estimate someone with a really high power level accurately. And I mean, with the ability to just hide their troop key anyway, hide your troop power. I mean, it makes just using a scouter just irrelevant, really. And really, this is all why power levels just don't matter. They really don't. And I mean, don't even get me started on the whole power scaling thing. Like, I mean, if Future Trunks came to fight Frieza, he shouldn't have been that strong. I mean, Goku Super Saiyan, and he kind of struggled at Frieza when he was at 100%, but he still beat him. But Trunks just came as easily, he just whooped him. Even as a Super Saiyan, he shouldn't have been that powerful, I don't think. Just like Android 17, he shouldn't have been that powerful in Super, and then Master Roshi and Krillin going toe to toe with Super Saiyan Blue Goku. That's not right at all. But anyway, you guys, so that's why power levels don't matter. They don't. They never really did if you think about it. After kind of watching the series back again, just realize that. Alright guys, so that's all for today. If you like this video, show it some love by giving it a like, subscribe, ring the bell for more videos, and stay tuned for the next one. Thank you.